So if you've ever wanted to learn how to speedrun Fashion Police Squad, this is the video for you. I'm going to show you how to get everything set up to do the speedrun and everything you're going to need to do once you're in the run itself. So the very first thing you're going to want to do for speedrunning this game is make sure you have the correct patch installed. The current patch is not the fastest patch. The fastest patch is actually a beta patch that you can install from Steam directly. So what you're going to do is go into the game. It's obviously going to look a little different for you, but when you go into the game, you're going to right click, hit properties, and then you're going to come down to where it says betas. And right here where it says beta participation, there's only one other option besides none, and that's speedrunners, public branch for speedrunners. So you're going to select that, and then you're going to need a code in order to download it. And the code is Speed Skills 2023. At least I'm pretty sure it is. I actually didn't double check before this, but in case that's not the code, you can go to speedrun.com/fashion_police_squad, and under resources, there is a guide on how to install this game there. So with that, once you have the game installed and opened, you are going to want to go into your options menu. And you're going to be on, actually, first make sure you are on the correct patch. You'll know because it'll be right up here in the upper right corner. It'll say Fashion Police Squad version 1.0.5. If you do not see this 1.0.5, you do not have the correct patch installed. You need to try again because 1.0.5 is the fastest patch. You can run the game on the current patch, but there's one particular skip you won't be able to do, and the game is just overall going to be a little bit slower because some quality of life changes were made to the game that made the run just a little bit slower. So once you have the game open, you go to your options menu, set your graphics to whatever you want. I'm going to strongly recommend that you limit your frame rate to a minimum or a maximum of 120. You don't want to have an uncapped frame rate here. If you do have an uncapped frame rate, you are going to have a little bit of trouble with some of the skips later on because the time that you spend on the belt nodes is actually tied to your frame rate. So having a frame rate higher than 120 will mean you spend less time on the belt nodes, and that is going to make some skips later on much harder. Suggestion as well is to turn off motion blur because nobody should ever have that enabled. It's disgusting. Real quick, I'm going to skip controls, go to gameplay real quick. It's recommended that you turn off screen shake and weapon bob just because those... weapon bob is kind of whatever. You can leave that on if you want, but screen shake actually can be a little disorienting. So I generally recommend you turn this off. I don't believe it's actually slower, but it will, in some cases, throw off your perspective a little bit because this is essentially the screen shake mode is your gyroscoping tilting stuff, and it's a little bit annoying to have to work around that. Audio can be whatever you want, no big deal there. And then for controls, these can also be whatever you want. If you're going to do key bindings, if you're going to run on gamepad, then you can run however you want to. You can remap the controller in whatever way you want. I am not going to be running with control. I'm going to be showing you a mouse and keyboard because that's generally thought to be faster on PC. And if you're running on console, then obviously you're going to just use whatever your gamepad settings are. So you do not have to use the keybind layout that I use, especially because I use ESDF for my movement keys, which is very weird to a lot of people, but I find this works much better for me. If you're going to just use WASD as your default, that is totally fine. One thing that you are going to want to do is bind interact to mouse to one direction of your mouse wheel, either up or down. Because this is going to let you be able to speed through dialogue really quickly compared to if you have it bound to a key and you have to manually press the key to skip each line of dialogue. If you bind it to scroll wheel up, you can just scroll the wheel and you'll skip everything really quickly, which is really, really nice. Additionally, you are going to want to make sure you have jump bound to space because that is how... It's like that by default, but you're going to want it bound to space. And then you're also going to want to, if you have a mouse that allows you to rebind the scroll wheel down, it is recommended that you bind scroll down or scroll up, either way. You're going to want to change that binding in your mouse software to space, not just have it bound in game to mouse wheel down. I do that as a failsafe, but you're going to want space actually rebound on your mouse profile itself. I know that may be a little bit confusing, but you're going to want it bound that way because you're going to want to be able to scroll really quickly through the opening cutscene, and if you have it bound to just your mouse wheel, like this, you're gonna lose. It's only like a second or two, but it shouldn't even be that long. But you're gonna lose a little bit of time there. So it's recommended if you can rebind your mouse profile, rebinding one of the scroll directions to space. It's recommended that you do that. Is it the end of the world if you don't? Absolutely not. You can still do the run just fine. You can still get a totally competitive time. This is stuff to optimize the run as much as you possibly can. Additionally, you're going to want to make sure you have crouch bound to whatever key is most comfortable for you. I bound mine to mouse wheel 5. I never even touched left control. Now, the weapons, unfortunately, on the patch that we are running, you cannot rebind the weapons in-game, which is very, very annoying. So, whatever you end up selecting for your keybinds, you're going to want to make sure that you have Fab Slap available on a key that isn't going to be one of the possibly rebound keys that you're going to use for your weapons, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. Don't, by the way, ignore reload being on you. That's rerouted to my mouse, so don't worry about that. And same thing with weapon wheel. So if you don't want to use the default 1 through 5 for your weapons, then what you can do is use an auto hotkey script to rebind this. And we allow this for this run because on the patch that we are using, the weapons are hard-coded to those keys. I don't know why they did that, but they did. So an option that you can do is run an auto hotkey script. And it's going to be a little bit hard to see, but it's right up here in the corner. What I do is I running auto hotkey version 2.0, and I have. So since I use ESDF, my weapon keys for the first 4 weapons are ZAQW, because those are I can hit all of those with either my pinky or my ring finger, which is really nice because I can still kind of move around while switching weapons. It's just like a little optimization for combat. If you're using WASD and you want to bind your weapons to ERFC, that's totally an option. Absolutely nothing wrong with doing that at all. However you want to do it, this is an option to do that, and the way you would code it is, or code it, the way you would write the script is you would write the key that you are going to press, 2 colons, and then the key that you want it to press. So number 1 is the shotgun in the game, the 2 die 4. That is the hard-coded key. So if you press the 1 key in game, it will pull out that weapon. So when I press the A key, auto hotkey tells my computer, actually, you're pressing 1. And so when I press A, I'm actually switching to the 2 die 4. Do you have to do this? Absolutely not. If you want to use the number keys, ignore this entirely, because this is only if you want to rebind the weapon keys, which I do because I'm a spoiled brat when it comes to this sort of thing. But that is an option for you if you would like to do that. As long as you are binding a 1-to-1 bind here. You cannot bind 2 keys, so you can't bind A to 1 plus another key. That would be considered a macro, and using macros is banned. So if you do that, and you submit a run like that, that run will be rejected. So you can only reroute 1 key to another key, like to 1 key to 1 other key. Otherwise, it is an invalid run. So with that, I am going to close this, and we have done enough talking about the options. So now we can jump into the game. So new game. I'm just going to do this on save 3. We run this on the easiest difficulty because that one makes the most sense. Now, if you bound your mouse profile to scroll down, or sorry, to space, like one of the scroll directions, you can scroll to skip that cutscene really quickly, which is really, really nice. Now, once you are in, like in game, you can scroll up to, or scroll down depending on which direction you have interact, and that will skip that opening dialogue. Now, what I do is I turn really quickly and I jump over this car to get a straighter line here. You could just go forward and go around it. Literally, you're talking about maybe frames of time save. It's not enough to matter. But if you were to just go forward and go around this pillar, I mean, at most it's like half a second. So it's up to you. When you come up here, if you want to be optimal, you're going to aim for just to the right of this building right here. And what I do is I jump over it and I hold space to skip this cutscene for when this guy spawns in. We're gonna run up here. Now this is the spot that is going to reset a lot of runs. If you are just starting out, don't reset here yet. Just wait for this guy to behave. But what we're going to do is we're going to use one of those enemies we just saw over there to jump over this first gate. If you don't want to do this skip, you can just run around the building. It is a 7-second difference in time. It is not a big time save. So you do not have to do this if you don't want to. But what we're going to do is he's going to most of the time do this, and he'll run around a little bit more. What you're going to do is jump onto his head, and he'll start walking toward you, and then you can use that to crouch jump over the fence. And the way you do a crouch jump is you jump, and while you're in midair, you press the crouch button. So you notice how I'm crouched right now is because I crouched while I was in midair. That's a crouch jump. So you're going to jump on his head, turn around, and do a crouch jump to get over the fence. And you need to do a crouch jump because the fence is just a little bit too tall to just jump over it normally. And again, if you don't want to do this, you can just run around the building and do kind of the normal intended route. Absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. This only saves 7 seconds, and you should not be resetting your runs on this skip until you get a really competitive time, at least sub 40 or less. So once you are in this arena, depending on which side you're entering from, you're going to get 5 dull suits in this arena. And they have already decided to join us. So I'm actually going to reset checkpoint here just so I can show you what this looks like a little bit more accurately. So putting that all together, I'm going to turn, scroll the wheel, jump over the car, just like that. And again, when I'm going to jump over this railing and hold space to skip this cutscene, come around the corner. Now, ideally, he'll be walking around and like this. This is actually the cycle that you want to see him doing, because this is when he starts walking toward you. And you do the crouch jump to get over. Now, once you are over, you're going to get 5 of these guys in this arena. The pattern that I do here, I found to be optimal for me. ACatters, the world record holder as of the recording of this video, he does this arena slightly differently. Both come out to essentially the same time. I don't think one's faster than the other. It's just preference. So figure out how to optimize this fight for yourself. But the way that I do it is I walk up, hit this guy, them in order, and then I start strafing to the left while I shoot this guy to hit this this trigger line. Now, the trigger line for this dialogue prompt to pop up about the ribbon is somewhere around this block. I'm not totally exactly sure where the line is, and I think it's a little bit based on your positioning when the fight is over with. But it's like somewhere right around here. So I'm starting to shoot at this guy while I strafe over here so that I hit that trigger line. And as soon as the fight's over, I trigger that dialogue and the gate opens and I can start walking over here right away. Now, once you get here, there's 2 ways to do this next skip. One of them is considered to not be RTA viable, so you're not going to do it. I did it at AGDQ 2023 if you want to go watch that run, but it is not considered RTA viable, so I'm going to show you the RTA viable way to do this, and you can do this on both mouse and controller. You're going to run over here, you're going to beeline straight for this scooter right here. It's hard to see, but it's a scooter right here. You're going to jump on top of the scooter, turn to face the light, do a jump crouch to get on top of the light, and then you're going to jump over the gate on this side. Now, the invisible wall over this gate goes to about here. So if you try to clear the gate on this side, you're going to hit that invisible wall. But there's an opening right here. And fun fact, this opening was actually left here specifically for speedrunners. The developers were like, let's give speedrunners a freebie here, and they opened up the invisible wall right here so that we could skip this part of the run, which was really nice of them. So you're going to jump over this side of the gate, which will be the right side when you're facing it. And again, if you try to jump over the left side, you're gonna get blocked. When you do the jump onto the light, you do not have to crouch jump. You can jump and get on top of the light, but it is a little bit harder. So, okay, gentlemen, please stop that. You can jump onto the light just normally, but it is fairly difficult to, and the timing is pretty unforgiving. If you jump crouch, it's basically free as long as you actually crouch while you're midair. So I'm gonna jump over the gate, and you saw me actually like hit the wall here is because I actually touched the invisible wall on the way in. So it extends pretty far out, so you got to jump pretty close to this wall to make sure you clear that. From here, you're going to run over this way. Now you can get back inbounds at this corner right here, or right here at this side wall. The corner is faster. This will also get you back in. This is about a second slower. I use the corner because the corner is faster. Now, when you run back in, it's easy to get stuck right here on this this gap between these two pillars. Or it's one pillar, but there's just a gap here from out of bounds. So what I do is I aim for this side of this pillar as I head toward the corner, and I'm going to hold space when I do this. Yeah, see, I just got stuck doing it just now. But yeah, you're going to just hold forward, and then if you didn't get stuck, you probably would just get pushed back inbounds right here. If you do get stuck, just tap the right key, and it'll get you unstuck pretty quickly. So I hold space when I run in. I'm going to aim for the side of this building, holding space to skip this cutscene. I'm going to jump over this scooter and just hug this wall to kind of optimize the time here. Now, when I... this guy's going to be annoying. Let me... I don't have a good way of avoiding him while I explain this. So when I come around this corner, I'm actually going to reload checkpoint to not deal with these two. But when I come around the corner, I'm going to hook the turn, and then once I'm around the corner, I'm actually going to tap right, because the scooter guy that is around the corner is going to head straight for me, and if I tap right, he'll go to my left. So I'm going to reload checkpoint to show you how this works. This is an interesting spot to be. So jump back in. So I'm going to do this all at once. You can see how this works when you would do it in a live run. Come around the corner. I'm going to turn, then tap right. Oop, and I didn't tap right long enough because he still hit me anyway. But yeah, that's how you get around that optimally. Keep following this path. Maybe you have to shoot one of these guys. Maybe you don't. It kind of depends. You have to deal with the RNG of these two running around and being annoying. At least I'm safe up here, relatively. Now, what you're supposed to do is jump onto this dumpster, jump onto the vending machine, and then jump over the wall. If you want to be optimal, you can do a crouch jump to get over the wall, just like that. The crouch jump is a little bit trickier, but you can do it that way if you want. Only saves about half a second. Now, once you get in, you're going to want to be ready to scroll your wheel in whatever your interact direction is, and then start mashing the Fab Slap button. For me, that is mouse button 4. Make sure you understand which one it is for you, because I'm going to run up, scroll, and smash that button. Now, you're going to want to hit the neon bras earlier. So what I do is I typically hit everybody in this order. Just like that. And that is a pretty good Fab Slap section. Just make sure you slap everybody and do so before the timer expires. And if anything, if the timer runs out for you, you're going to want to make sure that you have the neon bras gone and done, all 3 of them, before Fab Slap runs out. This is usually not going to be an issue, but if you are playing on gamepad, it might be a little trickier to make sure you hit everybody. So just make sure the neon bras are down, because you will not be able to beat them in your current state, because we skipped getting the weapon that or the option to defeat them. But if the timer runs out, all the neon bras are gone, but you still have a couple of dull suits running around, you can still shoot them and finish the fight. So the neon bras must be defeated by the slap, or you're cooked. That's it. And then there's some dialogue skipping right there at the end, just scrolling the interact key. Going into level 2. Excuse me. You're going to want to scroll the wheel in your preferred interact direction. For me, that is scroll up. So I'm just going to say scroll up from now on. If you bound it to scroll down, then you'll scroll down. Whatever your interact direction is. Skip that to skip the first bit of dialogue. And you're going to come around the corner. And by the way, you have the ability now to do this. We skipped this in the first level. But once you enter a new level, after you've acquired a new ability or a new weapon, you will have that weapon. Because that's just how they do it. So I'm going to take these guys out so I can demonstrate this. So there's 2 ways to do this next skip. One of them is much more difficult and saves maybe half a second, maybe a second if you do it really quickly. And then there's the way that everybody does it, because it's way better and safer and easier. The first way, the harder way, is you can jump onto this tree, jump onto this pipe, jump up here, jump. This is what I mean. This is why it's difficult. You can jump here. You're going to jump onto this pipe. This gets in the way though, which is why we don't typically go for this this jump. And then you can jump over this gate from that side. It saves about a second. It is also much trickier and riskier, so I don't generally recommend you do that one. The one that everybody else does is you're gonna run up, jump onto this scooter, and then just do a real simple crouch jump right over that gate. You must do a crouch jump there. There is no getting, like, you could get on top of the light in the last level without crouch jumping. It's just kind of tricky and the timing's pretty tight. You cannot get over this gate without doing a crouch jump. So you must get good at that in order to do that. From here, you're going to follow this pathway around this corner. Just keep hugging the left side. And then you're going to want to get your thumb on the space bar and hold it down to skip this cutscene. And that will, you'll start that cutscene and finish it and skip it from out of bounds. From here, you can run straight forward and cross your fingers that the loose suit walked around to the right spot, or you can manip his RNG by jumping up here and then dropping down. If you jump up there and then drop down, he'll pretty much always be here or somewhere around there. If you don't jump up, he'll, for whatever reason, be somewhere back there. Not really sure why he does that, but that's what he does. Shoot him once, and then start mashing whatever button you have bound to the TaylorMade. For me, that is Q. It will be, I think by default, it's the number 2 key. And then once you switch to the TaylorMade, start scrolling your interact key, mouse wheel down, or mouse wheel up for me, in order to skip the dialogue, and then you can keep going. Now you're going to be aiming for the corner of this shadow where this platform and this shadow meet. You're going to want to aim for that spot, and as soon as you reach that corner, jump. And that puts you up here. I would generally not recommend that you scroll jump there, just because you do potentially run the risk of double inputting and jumping up the next floor, and there is a, as you can see, there's a gentleman right above me. So then from here, you're going to, once you've jumped up inbounds, you're going to walk forward again, and then you're looking for this wall. It's got the silver doors with the windows here and this little bit here. We're going through this alcove, so as long as you clear this wall on this side, you technically can jump up. However, if you jump up right here, there is a good chance that you'll get stuck. So walk a little farther, then jump. And that'll put you right here, and then you're going to aim for the side of this pillar. Just like that. And this is where the collision will actually spawn in properly. But getting to this wall, this is where we're headed anyway, so that's how you can get back in there. The collision's a little funky. You may get stuck. If you do get stuck, just hit a strafe key. You'll get back in with no issues. From here, you're going to go forward. You're going to aim for the opening between this pillar and this wall. You may have to strafe a little bit to get through here. Typically what I do for this is when I turn, I just real quickly tap my strafe key right to clear that pillar and get through. You don't have to do it that way, but that is optimal. As soon as you get around this corner, you're headed for this dumpster. You're going to jump over it, turn to the left. And then as soon as you get to the corner of this pillar, do not hard turn. We're not going there. We're going there. So you're just going to do a little tiny diagonal turn, then do a full 45, and then a 90, and then another 90, and then a 90 to the left. I jump over the wooden platform here. I am now drawing a blank pallet. There we go. That's the word. The wooden pallets here. I jump over that. And then as soon as I am over that, I'm running to the fence. I'm going to start scrolling my interact button to skip that real quick. And then turn around and start running back this way. Now we have the belt. You have to get the belt. If you don't, you will be soft locked. Just as an FYI. So once you get back around this corner, just go in a straight line. You don't have to turn, you don't have to curve, you don't have to do anything. Just a straight line will get you where we're going until you death warp back inbounds. This is where you want to be. Now, you are going to use the belt to go through here. I'll show you the skip, which saves a little bit of time, and then I'll show you the better way of doing it, which is for if you're learning this run for the first time, is what you should do. I'll actually show you how to do the beginner method first, and then I'll show you the advanced method second. So you're going to use the belt to swing, and you're just going inbounds. You're just going to do all this inbounds, run around this corner. Belt node here. You're just doing this all inbounds the way the developers told you to. and that'll land you here. Now from here, you would just follow the nodes and then continue from this point forward. Now, if you want to do the advanced method, which you totally can, if you so choose to do so. I have the trainer enabled, but I don't remember what the teleport keys are, so I have to do this the hard way. Actually, I don't have the ability to get back up there because they locked that down for you. Uh-oh. Okay, I gotta restart mission. That's fine. I can show you the I can kind of re-show you everything from start to finish, so it clicks a little bit better. Repetition is useful in learning. So I'm gonna scroll, hold forward. And again, the better method is to go for the scooter here. Just do a quick crouch jump over. And again, you're just hugging the left side here. You don't want to go too wide. If you go too wide, you may fall off the platform, which would be bad. And just optimize. We're going to jump, fire him real quick. I'm going to mash the TaylorMade button, jump at this corner, jump right here, and then again tap right, jump over here. And yes, if you make a mistake somewhere, you may have to reset mission. Early on, just reset mission and keep going. Don't reset the whole run. Once you get a fairly optimized time, then you can start resetting the run. All right. So the advanced method. This is what you're going to want to do once you start getting a much better time. Is you're going to belt node, and you don't have to jump onto this platform. You can actually just go straight to the next node. This platform is I'm just stopping here to kind of explain what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab that node. I'm going to grab that node, and I'm going to swing and land on top of the building from that second node. That's going to look like this, just like this. And this is why you want to have your frame rate capped to 120. If you have an uncapped frame rate, most likely you'll still be able to get up here, but you're going to be on that node for a shorter amount of time. And so you may end up getting launched off the node before you're kind of ready to jump, and that could send you in a random direction, which you don't want. Once you're here, you see this pipe right here and the corner of the top of this building. You're aiming basically for that. It doesn't have to be exactly that line, but just aim in that general direction, because what you're going to do is there's an invisible platform right here. Now there's an opening right over on this spot. You don't want to run straight across once you've so right now we're a little bit elevated to where we're going to drop down to. There's an invisible floor above this platform. We're going to drop down to that. Do not just run straight across. If you run straight across, you will fall into there, and then you're going to have to go around the hard way, which is fine. You can do that. If you do fall back in bounds, just do that. Just go around. You'll lose a little bit of time. It's not a big deal. Until you have to reset the run, and that's only once you get a really competitive time. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna drop down, and you're gonna kind of have to practice and eyeball the timing on this, because there isn't a clear indicator of where that floor ends. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna run across that gap, and then at an unspecified spot, you're gonna jump and crouch jump up onto this roof. And there will be enough space for you to do it. The rule here will be jump sooner rather than later. But if you jump too soon, you won't clear the gap there and you'll fall down. So the way that's all going to look is something like this. Just like that. It looks simple, but right around here, there be dragons. So make sure you jump earlier than you think you need to. And again, if you jump too early, you're going to fall down there, and that's bad. So once you're up here, you're going to run forward. Now, if you want to do this optimally, if you want to do this non-optimally, you can just run to the edge right here and drop down, and that'll send you onto the platform right here. You might recognize where we are. This platform is right on the other side of the lip of this building. You can drop it down there and then swing. If you want to be optimal about it, you can run over here, and once you get to, it doesn't look like it, but there's a wall right here. You're going to run and crouch jump to get up on top of this wall. It's an invisible wall. And you can go straight for this node and drop down just like that. Now, I am going to go back real quick so that I can demonstrate something. Because I want to explain what I'm going to do in this spot. Once you jump off that 4th node right there, that one at the very end, you're going to want to hold down your belt key to charge up the belt. Because there is a loose pants enemy. I forget what he's called. The Vapor. There's one of them there. One fully charged belt snap will beat him on easy mode. So you're gonna, as soon as you let go of that last node, you're gonna want to start charging it immediately. You're gonna want to hit both of the both of the loose suits, get them out of the way, get the loose pants guy out of the way, and then you're gonna use the dull suits for a skip here. So let me get in the arena and I'll show you what I mean. So you're going to get across, charging the belt. You're going to start hitting this guy. As soon as he's beaten, snap this guy, take out this guy. Now, I got to pause here so I can explain this without these guys like throwing suitcases and whatnot at me, or briefcases. You're going to want to get out your 2-4, the shotgun. And you're going to want to be very careful with the timing here. Take out one of them, but leave one of these guys alive for the moment. You're going to want to start heading into the next arena. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to beat the last guy, take him out. That's going to trigger Haley's dialogue for the next sequence. But if you trigger the next fight before that dialogue prompt shows up, the mission updates will cycle in such a way where you can just immediately go into the building and you don't have to do that last fight. The timing is a little bit forgiving here, but you want to make sure that you can run into the arena without getting stuck on the building. So be a little bit careful here, but I'll show you what that all looks like all together. So I'm going to switch, take this guy out. I'm going to be heading this way, take him out, and run into the arena. If you see all of the red indicators pop up above their head, then you know you did it correctly. Just beeline straight for the building, and you'll skip that whole fight. Why that works that way, we have no idea. It is inexplicable. It's just something weird about how the mission updates the objectives. So, getting into the boss fight. The boss fight is actually extremely straightforward. There's not really going to be a lot to explain here. One thing about getting into the fight, just to optimize your movement. When you get in, when the doors open, you'll see the chandelier right there in the center of the crosshair. You'll see those 4 arrows pointing inward. That means that you can hit the belt, or that you are within the belt range. Now, I'm just barely out of range, so if I go a little bit more forward, I will hit the belt. So what you're gonna do is, as soon as you get in, take like 2 steps forward and then slap the belt, or slap the chandelier with the belt. Now, what you are going to want to try to do here to be optimal about speed is you're going to want to swing the belt when you are, so say like, I grab the belt, I'm swinging in. When I get to not directly underneath the chandelier, but like right about here, that's when you press space to jump, and then you're going to want to hit the next chandelier and keep going from there. This spot, right about here in your swing, so if you start your swing from here and you let go right about here is where you get the optimal speed swinging off of the chandelier. That'll give you kind of the most momentum going forward. And you'll just do that at each spot. You won't be able to do that on every single chandelier because of how the node swings are going, or how your swing is going to change based on your speed as you hit the next chandelier. But if you can get that with most of them, then you will kind of optimize getting to the door. So all said and done, that's going to look something like... something like that. Now, I'm not going to do it on the last door because I want to wait before I actually have this thing. Oh, apparently it opens regardless of how close you are to it once you get to about here. Okay, so once I'm in, I'm going to start scrolling the wheel to skip the dialogue there. And then start holding down left click as soon as Hugo jumps up in the air, and be ready to start hitting the reload button. Now, reloading this gun is done optimally while you are firing your 5th shot. So you see how in the bottom right corner it says 5 out of infinite, because you have infinite ammo for every weapon except for the wardrobe. So if I shoot all 5 pellets out, He will reload it on his own, but if you press the reload button while that 5th shot is happening, you'll reload it just a little bit faster, and that's how you can optimize the destruction to Hugo as quickly as possible. So it's just like while that 5th shot is happening, like as soon as you hear that 5th shot go, press that button and you will reload a little bit faster. There is a little bit of randomness here. Sometimes devs will randomly like take an extra second to fire. Like you'll fire 2 shots and then for whatever reason it'll do something like that where it will wait to fire the 3rd shot. I don't know why it does that. It's just kind of how the game works. It's probably engine related, but the point being that sometimes it'll do that. Don't freak out. Just it's randomness built within the game, so you just got to deal with it. As long as you are reloading on that 5th shot, while that 5th shot is happening, you will optimize this. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Just go in, scroll to skip the dialogue, and I shot a little bit early. You want to wait till he's actually jumping up in the air before you start doing that. Now, there is a bit of randomness with which direction he'll jump, and sometimes that randomness will throw you off. Just do your best. And as soon as you see his health bar is not moving anymore, he's going to jump to here. While he's doing this, hold that right click to charge up the thing, and then you're going to want to get out the TaylorMade and just start shooting at his side, because he's going to pull these guys out, and you can start hitting them on the same frame that that they are pulled out. Once these guys are all down, he's going to jump back into the center, keep doing the same thing. As soon as you see his health bars stop moving again, that's when you can be ready for the next phase to start. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out the TaylorMade. I had to pause here because otherwise this was going to all move very quickly. I'm going to pull out the TaylorMade. I'm going to aim to a very specific spot. You can do this differently if you want. This is the way that I do it, the way that I feel most comfortable. If you want to aim for a different loose suit, you can. But the one loose suit that I'm going to be aiming at is usually very consistently there. You're going to get out the TaylorMade. You're going to aim directly under the light on this railing right up here. And that loose suit is 99 times out of 100 going to be in the exact spot where you're aiming, so you can start holding left click while that cutscene is happening and you'll start firing right away. So it's going to Hugo, please. I'm going to aim like right about there. Scroll to skip the dialogue, and I'm just going to hold left click and I'll start firing at that spot right away. And that's just a tiny little optimization to get through this fight a little bit faster. Just like that. Now, there are 3 loose suits in this fight, so I recommend taking all of them out first. Now, from here, you've got these 2 jerks that are going to be a massive pain in the butt. If you defeat both of these Neon Bras by sucking out all of their color before you've defeated all of the dull suits, you are not going to be able to do the last phase of this fight optimally. But if you want to take out one of the Neon Bras first and leave the other one alive, quote unquote, until after you take out the dull suits, that would get you to stop being pushed around by them. So what I'm going to do, and this is something you're going to have to just adapt to in the moment, because these guys move around randomly. Everybody moves around randomly. There's no way to account for where they're going to be at any given moment. So if you see the dull suits directly in front of you, go shoot him first and then deal with the Neon Bras after. If there's a Neon Bra directly in front of you, go for him first. Just make sure that you do not beat both of these Neon Bras before you've taken out all of the dull suits, or you will waste some of your supercharged shots, and you're going to want those for Hugo to get that last fight, that last phase absolutely optimal. So in this case, because of where I'm at, because I have these 2 coming at me, I'm going to go for one of these Neon Bras first, and you can use the belt to kind of control them a little bit more. So okay, I'm going to leave that one alive. And then you got to get this guy up here. Once he's down, you can belt this guy and supercharge. Now, do not start firing at Hugo as soon as he walks in. He's going to do this animation where he walks in on his phone. As soon as you see him crouch down to start jumping, that's when his hitbox becomes active again and you can start shooting. If you want to wait until he's on top of the desk to start shooting, that is totally fine. You can kind of make sure that you're shooting that you're getting all the paint from these supercharged shots on him, as opposed to potentially on the ceiling or the floor. If you want to do this optimally, you'll do it like this. Just like that. And then just keep shooting. And that's the fight. Now, something that may happen during this fight is you may die. This is an easy fight to die in because it's just difficult. If that's the case, and you are on patch 1.0.5, you can press T on your keyboard, and that will instantly resurrect you. In later patches, that was changed to right control T, which is obviously slower. Because then you have to hit 2 keys, and you probably have to take your hand off of either take your hand off your mouse or take it off WASD or ESDF, depending on what you're using. But yeah. And also, so you're going to want to make sure that you don't rebind T to anything else, because then you will lose access to instant res, and that's bad. Now, once you are back on the overworld, you can start scrolling immediately in whatever your interact direction is. So start scrolling, and then click mission 4, keep scrolling, hit start, space, and then click on rollout. You cannot space press everything, but you can space press to skip some things. You'll figure that out as you go. It's too difficult to explain that accurately right now. That's just something you're gonna have to learn as you start menuing around with the overworld. Once you're in level 4, scroll to skip this dialogue. And this level is played almost entirely inbounds. There's only one skip. It's a very small skip. There's technically 2 skips, actually. What you're gonna do is you're gonna try and get onto this AC unit. Now, if you don't get onto the AC unit, it's not a big deal. You're gonna lose maybe half a second. Just belt snap this thing, and then the gate will open. You can go around. You have to skip some dialogue, but it's totally fine. If you do get on top of the AC unit, you can run and jump over the gate. Just like that. Now, you still have to skip the dialogue no matter what, but this way you don't have to hit the belt the thing, and saves about half a second to maybe 1 second. If you don't get the AC jump here, no big deal, just keep going. I still sometimes miss it. It's kind of easy to miss, especially if you don't manage to belt node your way on top of it very effectively. And it might take a little practice to do that. That's okay. From here, you're going to do this level pretty much entirely inbound. So I'm not going to do a whole lot of commentary here. I'll just kind of explain a few little things that will be useful to know. One thing that you can do that's like, it's not even really a skip. This is barely a skip, is you can jump onto this railing, jump onto this light, and then jump up there. I guess technically that's a skip, and so you don't have to walk all the way around. You're saving barely any time at all. If you want to, if you get this guy out here quickly enough, what you can do is jump onto him. Let me get him over in the right spot, actually. Okay, what you can do is jump onto him, jump onto the light, and then jump up here like this. He does not usually play nice doing that. So if he doesn't jump, go away. If he doesn't, everybody's trying to attack me. Oh, good grief. Guys, stop that. If he doesn't play nice, no big deal. Just jump onto the light and then jump up here. Hold spacebar as you come around this corner and aim for the corner of this building. You're gonna hold space to skip the cutscene with Karen. And you're just gonna wanna draw these lines that I'm drawing here. As soon as you get through this second doorway, turn right. Now, the way that you kind of optimize this is just jump over the railing here. And once you get up here, there's 2 ways to go about this. One way is slightly slower, but you don't run the risk of bonking the fence. If you get pretty good at belt node swinging, you can do the faster way. The slow method is literally just walk around this building right here to this corner and just go around. Easy. If you can do the belt node swing, that looks like this. And it's a few seconds faster. From here, jump onto the railing. You don't have to be on the railing to do that. I just do that because it is optimal. But if you are on the stairs themselves, no big deal. Just keep going. I'm trying to teach people how to speedrun here. Guys! Okay, we're going. So from here, you're going to belt node this. You're going to be on that belt node. Stop it! Okay, well, now that they're gone, I can do this more easily. Oh my goodness. This is a freaking party. Okay, let me actually show you how to resurrect. T instantly resurrects you. Where did she go there? Okay. Are we done now? Can I continue teaching people how to speed run? Thank you. Cool. Once you are through, it's gonna be difficult in later levels. I can already tell. Once you're here, you're gonna want to hit this belt node. You're gonna want to wait for like a quarter of a second. And the timing is pretty tight on when you want to hit spacebar to let go of the belt node. If you hold for like a quarter of a second, like that long. In fact, that was actually a little bit too long because I still hit the doorway here. If you time it correctly, you'll get through this doorway optimally. If you wait just slightly too long, you'll hit the doorway and you'll lose a few frames that way. It's frames. If you hold it for too long, no big deal. If you don't hold it long enough, you won't clear the platform. You'll death warp back over there. But yeah, we're trying to get through here. Once you are in this spot, you're gonna swing off this node, and you're gonna want to land on the roof here. Roof is optimal. If you go through the building, it might seem like it's more optimal to go through the building, but it's actually a little bit slower because you have to jump and drop down and clear a bunch of obstacles, which it takes longer. Taking the roof here is about 2 to 3 seconds faster, depending on how many things you bonk on the way down. So jump onto the roof, and then you're gonna jump down, and this gets you down here. Now start charging the belt as you get in here. Make sure you have the to die for out. You have a Karen here who is defeated partially by the belt. Otherwise, make sure that you hit everybody with the to die for. And I'm gonna actually pause because this neon bra is gonna ruin my life if I don't. Well, actually, let me just take him out. Cool. Okay, so you're gonna want to come over here, hold down spacebar so that you can skip the cutscene that's coming up in a second. Now, once you start the cutscene with the tourist, do not, under any circumstances, shoot this tourist. You do not need to deal with the ordeal of obtaining the gnome. We're going to get the gnome somewhere else later in the level. So don't shoot him. Don't hit him with any weapon, or you are going to start a cutscene that you're going to have to deal with later, which is annoying. So once you are holding space, you go through here, you're going to skip this cutscene, just run right past him. Just like that. No big deal. From here, you're going to jump onto this pile of suitcases, jump onto the lights, node this, and then you're going to jump up here. If you jump onto this platform, you can just go over that way. No big deal. It's a little bit easier to do this from this rooftop. From here, I'm going to jump onto that corner right there, the corner of that railing right there. And I'm going to run along that railing and jump onto that railing. If you don't want to do this because the timing is tight or whatever, or if you go for it and you fall off, just run through the gate. No big deal. I'm showing you optimizations. This is not required to do this run. So I'm going to jump onto that railing, run along the railing, and then jump onto that railing, and I'll be on the other side of that hedge. Just like that. You're going to land probably on the pillar more likely than this railing here. And getting onto the railing itself is actually, you can't do that. The game pushes you off. And this is the cutscene that you start. This is actually, this guy followed me all the way from where we started the one fight with him. So you shouldn't have the gnome yet, is what I'm getting at here. So once you're on top of this wall, you're gonna jump over. If you want, you can belt this guy to kind of get him to stop annoying you. Run through this gate, and as soon as you see checkpoint reached, pause the game and restart checkpoint. Now, if you didn't have the gnome before, you will now have the gnome, and that's how you get the gnome. Now, one thing to note, if you reload checkpoint again, I do believe you won't have the gnome, and you're gonna have to restart the whole mission because you'll be soft locked in the last arena if you don't have the gnome going into it. It shouldn't be an issue, but in case you reset checkpoint at all, I haven't done that in a long time, so I'm not entirely sure if that's what causes it or if there's something else. But basically, if you don't have the gnome at this checkpoint, you are soft locked. Restart mission. From here, optimally, you're going around that corner, so you can just literally run over, like jump over that fence and run around if you want. Or if you want to do it optimally, you can take the nodes to get to here. Grab your mocktails. Now, I'm going to start shooting before I come around this corner, just so I can hit this guy on the first frame that he's available. You're going to want to beat the loose suit up there while you are running forward. As soon as you're in the arena proper, switch to the gnome. You're going to aim over this way. It's going to be over a platform on that side, but you're going to turn about that much. And you're going to throw 2 gnomes at the tourist to get him out of the way. The gnomes have a very fixed amount of damage they do per second. And if you are really, 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 really fast, you'll actually beat the loose suit and the dull suit there before the tourist is beaten. Or what'll end up happening is you'll throw the gnome to the wrong spot and the gnome has to travel to the tourist, which means that you're going to lose a little bit of time on that. So optimally, you'll hit the tourist with both gnomes pretty quickly. So you're going to I'm going to run forward, start shooting to hit this guy. And as soon as I'm around this corner, I'm going to start throwing these gnomes. I see these. Even ran around. Optimally, you would just hit the tourist with both gnomes. Easy peasy. Now, as soon as you beat all 4 of them, you're going to get a bunch of dull suits spawning in. When you have beaten the second to last dull suit, the next phase is going to start. So let me show you how that looks. Okay, so I just beat 3 out of 4 of these guys. The next phase is going to start. What I would recommend, if you want to be optimal here, is once you've beaten that 3rd dull suit, switch to the gnome and look for the tourist. The tourist is going to spawn in a random spot in the arena. It's not fixed. It's a random spot every time. So just keep your head on swivel, find the tourist, throw 2 gnomes at him, and then take out the other enemies that are in the arena while the gnomes are working on the tourist. Right there. He will sometimes spawn there. Sometimes he'll spawn right where I was standing a second ago. Sometimes he'll spawn on the big platform up here. It is random. So once those guys are working on the gnome, just take out everybody else and head for the gate. Nice and easy. Pretty straightforward level, but that is how you can get those little tiny optimizations that will save you time. Scroll the wheel to skip the pearl ball. If you have your, if you have space bound to scroll down, or sorry, yeah, if you have space bound to scroll down or scroll up on your mouse wheel, that's how you do that. If not, just keep spamming space to skip those pearl balls. As soon as you are in this level, the little tiny optimization that is not in the current world record that I found actually just recently is what you're gonna do is switch to the gnome, throw 2 gnomes as far forward as you possibly can. There's a tourist around this corner at the far end of this pathway. Those gnomes will go working on him while you are proceeding forward. So scroll, throw these 2 gnomes just like that. And then you're gonna wanna throw another gnome at this guy. Please move. And then just start moving to get up here. Now, you know you beat both of them when you have Fab at 96%. It's kind of hard to see on the pause screen, but if I don't pause the game, I'm going to have a party chasing me. So once you see 96%, then you know that you did it right. If for whatever reason the gnomes didn't find one of the tourists and this is at 94%, not a big deal. You'll just have to hit another dull suit with the paintball gun once you're in the next arena. Now, everything is going to move really fast. So I'm gonna pause in the middle of the skip to kind of explain what I'm going to do. But the first part of the skip, I'm going to take out 2 dull suits so that I'm at 100% Fab Slap, and then I'm going to initiate the Fab Slap sequence. As soon as I've started that, there's a loose suit up on a balcony. I'm going to slap him to warp myself up there, and then I'll pause there to explain the next part of this. So make sure you have the 2 die 4 out before you enter this arena. And try and get as much speed off this as you can because you're going for these 2. Start the Fab Slap. And he's up and to the left from where we are looking right now. Right up here. Just like that. So once you're up here, you're going to want to turn and face this side so that you have the wall on your left. Now, this jump is kind of tricky. There's a few different ways to do this skip. This is by far the most consistent, and I would actually argue it's the fastest now because we're going to use the Fab Slap to kind of teleport through the next few little bits. And in fact, we're going to want to use the Fab Slap to skip the last fight against the manager at the very end. So this is, I'm I'm going to make a declaration that this is the fastest way to do this skip, but also it's the most consistent. The other methods are slower and less consistent, and more difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run and jump off this plate. This railing doesn't exist, by the way. This railing is just a texture. There's no actual collision here. It's just a flat platform. So I'm going to run and jump around the left side. You don't need to crouch jump, but you do need to stick pretty close to the wall here. If you go too wide around the corner, you won't make it onto this platform. But there's an invisible wall we're going to jump on top of. Once we're on top of that invisible wall, I'm going to look up and to the right slightly, and I'm going to just start spamming left click to hit a tight suit with a Fab Slap. That's going to teleport us really quickly, and you'll see what that looks like. I'll pause as soon as I've done that. So once you're up here, turn to the right. Just like that. So there's an invisible wall that I jumped on top of. Again, it's pretty easy to jump on top of that wall as long as you stay tight to the building. Don't jump too wide or you will most likely miss. And I have missed that before. Once you've slapped this guy, you're going to slap another tight suit to teleport yourself a little farther, and then you're going to start heading the other way, like toward the end of the level, just like that. Turn to the right. Now, depending on how fast you do this, this building may not be here. For whatever reason, if you do this fast enough, this building just doesn't spawn in. But you're aiming for these vines right here. This little texture to the right of this poster. Once you are around this corner, you're going to get some dialogue. And then you're going to want to use the Fab Slap to do a little skip here. So I'll show you how this is going to work. I'm going to run forward, scroll the wheel to skip the dialogue. Now, I have to pause this because the timing is very tight here. And early on, you're probably not going to pull this skip off because the timing is very tight and it's kind of a tough jump to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Fab Slap I'm going to use this window here. I'm going to jump onto that window. I'm going to push as far left as I can. I'm basically tucking myself into a little corner here. And as soon as I'm in that corner, I'm going to jump and hold right. And that is going to jump me onto this sill above this door. As soon as I've jumped onto this door, I'm going to jump onto this light, and then I'm going to jump up, and the manager is over here somewhere. I'm just going to aim at him and start left clicking, and I will slap the manager, and that will warp me inside. If your Fab Slap runs out before you end up getting up there, not a big deal. What you can do is once the Fab Slap sequence is no longer active, you can crouch again. You can't crouch while Fab Slap is active, but while it's not active, you can crouch. You can do the same thing just without the Fab Slap initiated, where you jump into that corner and then jump up onto the sill. Or you can jump straight from here onto the light, but you have to crouch jump to do that, and you have to curve at kind of a weird angle. It's a little difficult to do. I think it's just easier to jump onto the windowsill and then jump onto the windowsill, then onto the door sill, and then onto the light. However you want to do it, figure out what works best for you. But if you have the Fab Slap sequence still initiated, you got your hand out here, you're going to have to, you can't jump onto this light. It's impossible with the Fab Slap active. So jump onto the sill, jump onto this sill, light, and then slap the manager. You may have to use the 2die4 to take out the two dull suits that come out of the manager, depending on how quickly you get there, or you may be able to slap them if you do it really, really quickly. So all said and done, that's going to look like this. Just like that. Yep, and I ran out slightly because I was explaining stuff. So skip the dialogue once you get to this door, and then the cutscene's going to play, and then just keep scrolling as soon as Arton goes into the sewers, and you can skip that last little bit of dialogue. Yeah, it's like that. And now you get to mission 6. Mission 6 is one of the 2 hardest levels in this run. Just gonna warn you right now. So overworld stuff, you're gonna scroll for the dialogue sequences between each one, space to skip that, hit that OK button, and then start the level. So just start out by holding forward and scrolling to skip the dialogue here. Around this corner, this guy's usually in the way, so I just shoot him because I can. Now you're gonna kite this tight suit into following you. So don't defeat him. We're going to use him for a skip in a second. Slap this metal grate with a belt, and then proceed through. Now, from here, you're going to basically just keep following the pathway kind of intended as you go. Slap this grate, drop down, slap this one. You get to here. I usually take them out because they're in my way. Now, we're going to use the tight suit to do a skip here. Normally, you have to go get the drip cannon, which involves not backtracking, but kind of going this other way around this corner and then following a whole long and winding route. It takes a long time to do that. It's about a minute slower. This is going to skip all that. Now, this is kind of a tricky skip, and you have to get the timing right. And there's not really a good way to measure the time here. Like, you're not going to be able to just, like, you know, as soon as one of them drops a CV bomb, count in your head. I mean, you could try and figure out that timing if you really want, but the problem is that there is a dialogue prompt that's going to pop up that's going to pause everything while you're skipping it. And it's going to happen probably right around the same time that the explosion is occurring, which throws a little bit of a wrench into how you do this skip. And without that dialogue prompt, the skip would actually be really easy to do. But because of that dialogue prompt, things are going to get a little wacky here. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait till one of the tight suits drops a CV bomb on the floor. It's going to count down 3, 2, 1, CV, and then right after CV, it blows up. We're going to run and jump with the CV bomb behind us in order to propel us across the gap without needing to get the drip cannon. It is a big time save, so you are going to want to do this. If you don't get it first try, if you mess up the timing, the dialogue prompt throws you off, whatever, you fall in and death warp back inbounds on this side of the train rails. Just wait for another CV bomb and try again. You'll lose a few seconds. It's not a big deal. But that is how you're going to do the skip. So all said, that's going to look something like this. What I typically do is I run to here because they'll drop a CV bomb directly in front of me. Now, the dialogue prompt is like this: CV, run, jump, get across. Now, as soon as you are across, you're going to run forward till you hit checkpoint reached, reload checkpoint. And the same way that you got the gnomes this way in Mission 4, this is how you get the drip cannon. As soon as you are loaded in, there's a few different ways to do this next skip. So I'm going to show you both methods. Or sorry, not both methods, but I'm going to show you multiple ways to do this next skip. Some are faster than others, some are easier than others. So you're going to run in. Now, this is the fastest way to do this, is you're going to run, jump up onto the sign. That has to be a crouch jump. As soon as you land, as soon as you get through the wall, you're going to land on this floor. Now, you are not going to want to stop shooting because you're going to need the movement buff, the movement speed buff to get around. There's a big block of collision right here, and you have to jump around that to land right there. This is not accessible. It is only accessible over there. So you're going to jump around that to do that, and then you're going to run forward a little bit and then jump inbounds to get to here. As soon as you get inbounds to get to here, you're going to run over and do this skip from here. That one is the hardest method. It's also the fastest. A slightly slower, but a little bit easier method is you're going to come over here. You're not going to death warp. You're not going to screw it up like I did. You're going to jump in here. Now, there's oh, good grief. Here we go. Got a little disoriented there. Now, I'm holding forward right now, but I'm not moving forward. There's a big invisible wall right here. I'm going to aim right around this spot. I'm just going to tap forward a little bit as I do this. I'm not going to hold forward, just tap it. So, yeah, if you're not careful, that can happen. But basically, you're doing the same thing on the left side of the railing as the right side. You're going to jump around that invisible collision and then run forward a little bit and jump inbounds, not inbounds, but jump onto the tracks and then do the skip like normal. So if I do that all told, it's going to look... And again, I'm just tapping forward. Shoot. All right, well, the idea being that you can do that that way. That skip's a little tricky just because you have to tap forward and sometimes you don't land in exactly the right spot. But it is, technically speaking, a little bit easier than the first method. Just because I actually did that method first try does not mean it's easier. Believe me, it is not easier. It may be easier for you, but I have not found that to be easier for me. The beginner method that I would recommend you do if you're just starting out is to run and jump over this gap, run and hit this sign, this poster, and just hit the wall. You're going to get pushed up a little bit, that's fine. But you're going to run through and you're going to land here. Now, it is entirely possible that you will land on the other side of this gate. If that happens, just reload checkpoint and try again, no big deal. But you're trying to land on this side of the gate. Now, you're going to run through here, jump over this guy to get through here. And navigate through all of this non-sensory and get inbounds. Now this gets you to this spot. Now I didn't show you the full advanced skip yet. I'm gonna go back and show you in a second. This is the method I'm gonna recommend you do first when you're first starting out. But you're gonna get to here. You're going to skip the dialogue, run forward, and you're going to aim for this invisible wall right here. Hold forward and left click to soak the wall to do a drip clip. Okay, that's not what you're supposed to do there. So I'm gonna have to restart mission to show you the proper advanced method. So for some reason this has been happening more for me lately and I'm not totally sure why, but you soak the wall and you'll get stuck right here. Now what I do typically is I let go of I turn. he was gonna screw that up if I didn't. But once you're through, you'll notice that you're stuck going forward. You actually can't move forward. But what I do is I turn to the right and I tap left strafe, and that will get me out of that stuck spot. And then you can proceed forward like normal to get to here, and then you head up these stairs. From there, you just have the one fight left, and that's gonna be the same no matter which of these methods you use. Because all of those skips are getting us to this, like every version of this skip is getting you to that fight, to that spot that I just restarted mission from. Now I'm going to show you the advanced method in full. The advanced method, we only did half the skip, and the second half of that skip is just as hard as the first half, because the collision out of bounds is very wonky and uneven. That you have to jump on to actually get through all that. So I'm going to set this up. You're going to need the, so you see how this red line, it's a little hard to see when it's paused, but this red line is like barely over the edge. That's not going to get you far enough because you're going to need to be a little bit off the ledge by the time the CV bomb blows up, and this will be out of range. So you're going to want to have them drop the CV bomb near the edge of the platform. The closer to the edge of the platform, the easier the skip will be. So we're going to wait for this guy's CV bomb, just like that, and then reload checkpoint. Now, the full method, this may take a few attempts for me to do this, just because the skip is fairly difficult. I'm gonna crouch jump onto this sign, and then just hold forward. Oop, and look at that, first try. Cool. And also take note of the exact spot that I was shooting at. I was shooting right in between two, like in the middle of a tile, as opposed to in the joint between two tiles. Just look at the spot. I'm not going to go back and point it out. Just you can rewind the video to see it. But I was aiming specifically in between two blocks so that I landed on that platform out of bounds. It's like just barely to the right of center of that sign that you're above. Now, once you're here, you're going to drip cannon yourself over here. You're jumping onto this line right here. Now you're going to jump onto this line, and then from this line you're going to jump onto this line here. The collision on this wall is wacky and weird, and it's gonna possibly push you inbounds. You may fall off the wall. It's entirely possible for that to happen. If it does, you'll have to restart checkpoint and try it again, because getting back inbounds from here is actually kind of difficult to do. If you fall inbounds here, you may or may not hit a death warp and land yourself inside the train or nearby the inside of the train. And if that's the case, you can just do the backup strat of the beginner method that I showed you before. But the full and complete skip, you're going to jump onto this wall, jump onto this wall. Yep, and if you drop down like that, that's where you have to restart checkpoint. And it is easy to fall inbounds or off that wall that way. And now, so you'll notice where I'm aiming right here. just to the right of this joint in the middle of the tile. So I'm gonna hold forward, and this one you can hold forward for. Oop. Okay, so I got the weird version of this skip. I'm gonna reload checkpoint. Yeah, sometimes this will happen. It doesn't happen to me too often, but every once in a while, you'll soak the sign. You'll fall through the sign instead of falling through the wall. It's a little strange why that happens, but sometimes it does. Yep. So just like that, you're gonna jump around that corner, land here. So you're gonna run and jump. I typically let go of the drip cannon until I get back on this wall. And then you're getting on top of this. You can jump onto here, or you can run. Sometimes I go to jump and I just don't get on top. I just don't do the jump, but I can still get on top of the wall anyway. I don't know if you can fall in bounds here. I just jump to make sure that I don't, in case I happen to find the tiny little opening that you can actually fall through and land in bounds. But you're running through here, and then you'll fall in bounds right here. And this is where we exited through the wall before. From here, you're just doing this fight. So let me pause here to kind of explain how this fight's going to work. I'm going to get into a specific spot. I'm going to aim in a specific spot, and I'm going to start soaking. There's 2 flame guys and a loose suit. Now, loose suits are beaten by the drip cannon. So what I typically do is I take out the first flame guy with the alt fire, and I alt fire the loose suit a little bit. That's going to be like right about here. And then I start charging it up on the loose suit, and then I take out the second flame guy with the rest of the drip cannon. The alt fire on it. So just keep using the drip cannon on most of the enemies that you need to use it on. You can switch to the 2-4 alt fire for the Neon Bra, who's going to be in here. The Neon Bra gets severely in the way a lot. So if you find yourself constantly getting pushed around by him, you can even take him out as soon as you see him, and that way you don't have to necessarily deal with his headache. You will have to deal with the headache of a tight suit and a couple more flame guys that spawn in. But this whole fight here is just a matter of hitting everybody as quickly as you can. So I'm gonna run, jump across, charge this up on him a little bit more. Cool. And then you'll get another flame guy right here. You can start taking him out. You'll get a tight suit. You might want to get rid of him soon. And once you've beaten everybody, head into the train and skip the dialogue. Nice and easy. Now we go into Mission 7. Now, Mission 7's got a skip that I would argue is harder than the ones that I just showed you in Mission 6. So, you have a couple of options here. Early on, what you can do is run through the level like normal and just play everything like normal. It's about 3 minutes, and you can figure out the route for that pretty quickly. There's some platforming and other stuff. You can totally do that. It's fine. If you don't want to do this skip, we call this Interstellar Skip. My chat named it that when I initially found it. I don't know why they called it that, but that's what they named it. So if you don't want to do this skip, I totally understand. This skip sucks. It's an absolute run killer. In fact, in my splits on Live Split, this split is called Run Killer. So if you want to do that, you can figure out that route for yourself. I'm not going to show you the whole thing because it's just for time and expediency. But once you're in, switch to the drip cannon, skip the dialogue. Now, there isn't necessarily a specific spot you have to shoot at here. I typically will have the very edge of the crosshair on the left side lining up with the right side of the edge of this door, right in this spot. I'm going to hold down the drip cannon, and as soon as you hear the little noise that indicates the drip cannon is fully charged, I'm going to count 4 lights through the window. 5 is a little bit safer. If you want to wait for 5 lights, you will be a little bit safer. 4 is a little bit faster, but you do run the risk of not being able to get through the wall because you have to soak this wall enough to actually do this. Once I've soaked the wall enough to make sure that I clip through, I'm going to run forward, jump, and I'm going to stop holding forward as soon as I'm in the wall. Now, if I stopped in the right spot, I'll get warped up on top of the train. If you don't get warped into the right spot, you get stuck, you'll have to restart checkpoint because you may be able to get back in bounds, but it's kind of wacky, and at that point, you're going to have a tough time timing out how long it takes to fire the drip cannon, and it would just make a little bit more sense to restart checkpoint if you end up not getting warped on top of the train for the when you go through. Most likely, if you don't get warped on top of the train, you're going to just fall to your inevitable death. And then you'll have to restart checkpoint anyway. So I'm going to actually restart checkpoint just so I'm in the right spot to do this. But yeah, once you're on top of the train, I'll explain what to do from there. But I'm going to specifically let go of the forward key once I'm in the wall. So I fire through. I'm going to count 5 lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Run forward, let go forward. And that will happen probably more often than not. Even when you become experienced in this run, that is a very common occurrence. This is almost RNG. It's not technically RNG, but it sure does feel like it. So let's soak the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. And this is where you would end up if you warped correctly. And you'll just kind of see your perspective shift upward. Now, a misconception about this level is that you're on a moving train. The train is actually not moving at all. The walls are moving. So this is the reason why we're not moving closer to the objective marker, is because we're not actually moving right now. The tunnel's moving. Now, this skip is very tricky, and the timing is very tight, and the problem is you can very easily get stuck in the walls, like in these pillars, and you may miss the jump. It's very common for that to happen, but if you can do this, it is very fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump onto the pillar, one of these pillars. I don't really have a good way of explaining the timing for this. You're just going to have to time it and aim it and figure it out. I really just eyeball it. I don't have a clear visual indicator for what to do. I literally every time I eyeball it, because there's not really a good setup to get in here. But the pillar has like a V shape to it, right? Kind of like this corner right here. Just a little bit more narrow of a V. And you're jumping into the middle of that V, right in the middle of the pillar, because the collision model is just, it's shaped like a V. All right, you're jumping into the middle of that. Once you're in the middle, you're gonna count like 1 Mississippi and then start jumping out. If you wait too long, you will go way past the tunnel that's over there. If you jump out immediately, you won't be close enough to the tunnel to get in. So you're gonna have to kind of just work out the timing on your own. If you don't want to do this the tough way, you can do the old method. The old method, like over a year ago, where we rode the tunnel almost to the end of the pathway out there, and then jumped back in and followed around to get back in bounds. I'll show you that method, but I'm going to show you this method first, because this is something to practice and get good at early on if you are going to actually do this out of bounds. So, all told, it's going to look like this. It's not going to look like that. That is doing it wrong. So I'm going to have to do this again, which is fine. I could even use the practice because the skip is just that difficult. So, I'm going to count 5 lights as soon as it's charged. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And boom, inbounds like that. Firing at your feet is a way to kind of guarantee that you'll move just a little bit faster and getting out of that pillar. Now, if you don't want to do that method, you can do the old method. And I haven't done the old method in a while, so it may take me a second to kind of remember how to do this. But the old method is a little bit easier. You're still going to do this. You're getting out of bounds the same way. Getting warped up. Now, you have to jump into the pillar, same as before, but you're going to ride the pillar almost to the end before you jump out. So if I do this correctly, just like that. This is only a few seconds slower. It is what I would recommend you start with if you are hell-bent on doing one of these two skips, start with this one. Do not do the other method, the difficult one, until you get a competitive time. It's only a few seconds faster to do the other method. This method's a lot easier. But you're going to run through here. Now, once you get in here, there's a dialogue prompt that's going to pop up as you're running through. The floor is electric here. You land in there, you're going to death warp. However, there is a tiny sliver of walkway that does not death warp you. We're going to jump onto that pathway and we're going to stay there. If you want to be very safe about this, you can actually jump onto the lip of the floor that's around the corner here and just run along that lip. It's a little bit safer to do that, but you can technically run on the floor. It's just that it's a very tiny little bit of collision in the floor that will death warp you back inbound. So I would recommend you you stay on this lip and just jump around the pillars like that. But you can get onto here pretty safely and just run along this line without needing to worry too much, and then just head into the elevator. Now the Swagman fight, there's no skips for, there's nothing really like difficult about this fight. There's just a couple of little combat optimizations I will tell you about. Have the drip cannon out for this. Soak the floor as you get in, and be ready to hit interact. And then hold space to skip this cutscene. And then keep scrolling your interact key to skip the dialogue there. That's how you can kind of get through that cutscene as quickly as possible. Now, once you are in the fight, he's going to do one of two things. He's either going to Naruto run around the arena, or he's going to start teleporting. Don't worry too much about what cycle you get early on. It's not until you get a really competitive time that you need to worry about getting God cycle versus poop cycle, and worrying about what he's going to do. Optimally, he will teleport first, and then he'll Naruto run around. The bad version of this is he will Naruto run around first and then teleport. If he teleports first and then Naruto runs around, that is best. If he Naruto runs around first and then teleports, that's worst. If he teleports twice, that's second best. If he Naruto runs around twice, that's second worst. And that just has to do with him deciding whether he's going to run around or teleport on the next sequence. There's a lot of complicated stuff RNG wise that is part of this fight. It just has to do with rolling for whether he's going to run or he's going to teleport. And if he does teleport twice in a row, he's guaranteed to run on the third one, and so on and so forth. It's a complicated RNG thing. You don't need to worry about it for the fight. Just hit him as best you can until the glitch phase starts.
Teleporting.
So this is actually optimal so far.
I've mastered the blade. Teleporting.
Okay, so this is second best.
Dodge this.
And what it means is that he is going to Naruto run around guaranteed the next time that he enters that sequence. Now, he's going to do one of three things. He's either going to turn neon, which means that you have to hit him with the alt fire on the 2-die-4. He's going to go dull, which means you have to hit him with the primary fire on the 2-die-4. Or he's going to go big, loose suit style, and you have to hit him with the tailor-made. He will always go neon first. That is set. He will always go neon first. In like 1,000 attempts of this fight, he has never done a different one first, so it is guaranteed. After that, he will roll for either dull or loose, and it is a 50-50 shot which one he'll do. You can have the 2-die-4 out and hope that he goes straight to dull and start shooting right as he comes out of it, or you can switch to tailor-made and hope that he does loose first. It's just a matter of guessing, and there's no way to account for the RNG here. It's fully RNG. We've not been able to break that part of this out to manipulate it. But a lot of this is really just going to be looking for which phase is he in and then hitting it with the appropriate weapon to follow. Once you've taken out a third of his health bar, he will start the interstitial phase, which is a bunch of platforming. So what I'm going to do is pull out the 2-die-4, and I'm going to start secondary firing to have the beam on him as soon as he starts the neon phase. Just like that. I'm going to make a gamble that he's going to switch to loose. Nice. Good gamble. Now, if you don't get him in 2 phases like that, because this is called the 2 cycle, and 2 cycle is the fastest you can do that. You cannot 1 cycle him, except on most likely the 3rd phase and only under very specific conditions, which are extremely unlikely. So 2 phase is the best you can hope for. If he does the tailor-made phase, the loose suit phase, he will guaranteed do either dull or neon next time, because he does 3 phases before he goes back to doing his either run around or teleporting stuff. If you're fast and you can do this in one sequence of glitching out, then you don't have to worry about doing that, and you'll save 30 seconds. If I didn't get him just now to do this, because he's now going to start that interstitial phase, I would switch to the 2-4, and I'd be ready to either energy beam him or paintball him, depending. But he's starting the next phase. And there is absolutely nothing you need to know about this phase, aside from just platforming. I'm going to scroll to skip this dialogue real quickly. Now, one thing that I will say is what I do is I have the drip cannon out. I'm going to I'm going to hold left click and forward while the transition out of this little this Metal Gear Solid sequence starts, and I'm going to start pulling the mouse downward just like that. And that's going to aim me downwards so that I start moving on the drip cannon water a little bit faster. It's just a tiny optimization. You don't have to do that. It's not like a run kill or anything, but it helps me get enough speed to make the first jump more easily. Just like that. This is easy. Just literally follow these platforms as I am doing them here. And I have worked out that this is the optimal sequence of platforms to land on when you have a choice in the matter. Like if there's 2 platforms in front of you and you don't know which one you want to jump onto, the ones that I'm jumping on here are considered optimal for this run. And then as soon as you land, you should be able to belt the server, just like that. Now, it's random what he'll do here, but pick one. So he did neon for this. He'll sometimes do dull. He'll sometimes do loose. It just depends. If he does enough neon, you can charge up the 2-4. And if he does dull later on, you get a lot of damage on him that way. All right, so this is poop cycle.
4D, 3D, 3D,
Yep, this is full poop cycle. So this is the worst. This is the worst one. But he was guaranteed to do this because he teleported in the first. He teleported twice in the first phase, so he was always going to start with that. If he goes dull, nope, he went loose. So because he did loose first, he is guaranteed to either do neon or dull next. Where did he go? Nice. Yep, and that's another 2 cycle, which is again optimal. So now you'll need your interact key to open the doors. Try to not just scroll like crazy, because it'll make that noise, and that is a very annoying noise to listen to. The world record run does that, and it drives me insane every time I watch it. So just scroll once, that way you don't destroy everyone's eardrums. And then just follow this pathway to take out these servers. He might be in the doorway there. Sometimes he is, sometimes he's not. It just depends. You may have to take him out in order to get through there. And then you can grab the armor optionally. You don't have to, but we're just waiting for this transition there anyway, so I just grab it because I can. Cool. And then optimally, he will teleport twice here. And he's not going to do that. For this particular phase, optimal is he teleports twice. And that is different than the first 2 phases. If he gives me another dull here. Nope. Yeah, there's about 3 more charge shots to use. Darn. I'll never get to use those. Now there is a, I guess you could call this technically a skip. Kind of. You're going to want this 2-4 charged all the way up, and if you've been shooting it at Swagman the whole time, it will be fully charged. You can shoot the nodes inside of the hammer early. The collision is weird. There's not a good indicator on the hammer itself to show you that you're hitting it, but there is an indicator on the crosshair. So if you see a couple little gray marks pop up on your crosshair briefly, that means you've hit something. It means you're hitting a node, because the collision is not fully set over the nodes here. There's little bits and holes in the cover that let you hit the nodes. So if you don't see those little gray marks, just move the cursor around a little bit until you see those gray marks pop up. You have to break 6 nodes over the course of this whole sequence. If you haven't seen this part, what's going to happen is the hammer's going to get really big. It's going to do a big swingy gesture like a Dark Souls boss, and then it's going to hit the platform. If the hammer's aimed toward you, jump to the other platform. If it's aimed toward the middle, just keep shooting at it. But you're not going to want to get hit by it, because it's going to make shooting a little bit trickier for until you recover from that. So you see that? Those little marks showed up right there. Just like that. Now you're going to run out of pressure on the 2-4, and you're going to have to recharge it at some point. Just do the best you can with this. I find it a little bit easier to hit those nodes from this side. Soak the ground in a straight line here, and then hold forward. And that'll just be a timing thing. You'll figure out the timing for that pretty quickly. Now, this button is hard bound to F for very obvious reasons. So no matter what you have as your F key, you will have to hit F here. Just press F to pay your respects, of course. And then just hold down spacebar for this last sequence to skip the rest of this cutscene once it's done. And again, if you have your mouse software binding space to one of the scroll wheel directions, you can scroll to get out of these parole ball sequences really quickly. So mission 9 is down here. Now, recommended is when you start out, like when you get to the overworld, you get to here, you will have this as your next outfit. With, of course, them spelling license wrong, which is great. Swag Team gives you you take less damage with this one, so we usually opt to equip this. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. If you have this equipped and you want to play with this, it's fine. You can recover immediately with T on the keyboard, so it doesn't matter that much, and selecting this only takes about a half a second. But it's nice to be able to take less damage. And then, as we haven't really talked about the accessories at all, you're going to unlock these as you go. So this one gives you start out with 20 swag, which is armor. Once you get the next fanny pack, you cap out at 120%, and then this reduces the belt cooldown and the stun duration when you slap an enemy. Either one of these is fine. This one's generally not going to do you much good, but either one of these swag or accessories is fine. I just usually keep it equipped to whatever I have, and especially because I end up using the belt a little bit in late game. It's during the last or the third to last and second to last levels. So it's generally a good idea to use the belt here because you can guarantee that enemies that are really big and tanky stay stunned for a little bit longer. But it's up to you. Swag Team is the recommended one, but if you want to do License to Chill, by all means, it is not an incorrect choice, and I have certainly accidentally selected it before. So as soon as you're in, hold forward, start smashing your drip cannon button, and left click and skip the dialogue, and you can get through here pretty quickly. The exact buttons that you use are going to be different depending. Hold space as you come around this corner to skip this cutscene. And you're going to want to, as soon as you see checkpoint reach, reload checkpoint here. That's going to get the tight suit off of you because he's annoying and will follow you into the last fight because he's a freaking jerk. So once you're in, the way we skip this, there's a few different ways to do this. I find the easiest way is to jump onto this, that wall and then jump over this wall. If you want to do it another way, the other method, is to jump onto this and then you can do a crouch jump to get over that wall. I goofed it up the first time, but I'll show you that again if you want to see it. So I'm gonna load in. See, this jump is kind of tricky, I find. So I always do the other method because I find it a little bit easier. Oh, good grief. Maybe it may be helpful to soak the box as you jump over. Whichever method you do, neither one's right or wrong. If you want to do the first method, which is what I do, you can jump onto this bench, then jump onto this wall, and then jump up onto this wall. Otherwise, you can jump up to here, and you'll have to do this pretty quickly or this jackass will get on you annoyingly. And then you can get up here and jump over the wall. I'm going to reload because I don't want to have 35 health going into the last fight. So, onto the bench, onto the wall, over this wall, and then keep soaking the floor to move faster. Now, from here, there's two directions you can go. This is the hard way. This is the easy way. This is the fast way. This is the cool way. I'll show you fast way first. Jump around this corner to land here. You're gonna have to, if you just hold forward here, you're not gonna get anywhere. So you have to crouch to get underneath this. There's a little piece of collision right here that you can see it from this side. You can't see it from this side, but you can from this side. This is actually a hard collision model. Once you get to here, the reason why this part is difficult is you're gonna soak the floor and you're gonna do another big jump around this collision right here. Oops. And see, I missed it because I waited to do that. So let me show you again. You want to do this part pretty quickly because if you stop it, you're going to lose your momentum and then sucks. Just like that. And that's how you get around that corner. And then from here, you have to crouch a little bit to get underneath that to get to here. And this is where you would end up regardless of which pathway you took. If you want to do it the cool way, and the cool way is a little bit slower, it's about 10 seconds slower, but it is way easier. And it is what I would recommend you do when you're first starting out. So like the method I just showed you is the advanced method. This is the beginner method. What you're going to do is you're going to stay around this corner, jump up onto this pipe, and then jump up. And you're going to death warp inbounds. From here, you're going to jump onto these platforms, just like so. I'm gonna take these nodes, I'm gonna land right here. Whoops. You're going to, again. You're gonna actually land on the lip of this thing. Now from here, you're going to soak this sill, and you're gonna jump between these two buildings around this left side. And that'll land you here, which is exactly where you end up when you do that big jump around. Whichever method you take is gonna land you here. Make sure that you do a nice big healthy jump over that like between those two buildings because you're clearing a death plane that extends to right about there, give or take. So you got to do a big jump to get over that. But as long as you do a big jump and you soak the ground, you'll have no problems doing that. From here, there is again two ways to do this. One way is a little faster, one way is about a second slower. The slower method is you jump onto this pipe right here and then jump around this corner. If you don't want to do that, you can soak the floor and jump straight from that corner, right where that pipe juts out, to here. And you can totally clear that. I do it in my PV. It looks a little scarier. And if you bonk the pipe too hard, you may not get the speed you need to clear the platform. I have not missed this platform very many times, I will tell you that. I almost always get that jump. If you want to go for the faster jump, by all means. If it's a little scary for you, no big deal. Jump onto the other pipe and then jump around the corner. You'll end up here. So you're going to come around this corner, you're going to get to here. Now, it is possible to get stuck going into this wall. Ask me how I know that. So, what I typically do in order to more closely fail-safe that I don't get stuck, I aim for right between this little pillar right here and this light fixture, and that is going to get me inbounds. Most likely without getting stuck. You may still get stuck. It can happen, but hopefully it doesn't happen to you. If it does, reload checkpoint, dragon. Now, when you do the fight, as soon as you get in, you're going to want to go to the left a little bit, and you're going to need to soak the ground to just kind of just beeline it over to this barrel. If you don't beeline it over there, the creepy dude in trench coat, I forget his name actually in the lore of the game, you're going to he's going to walk toward you too far and he'll be out of range of the barrel, and we're going to hit him with the barrel. But you're going to aim for, there's two barrels. There's one on the ground and there's one up on the balcony. You're going to aim for the one on the balcony. You hit the one on the balcony, it will blow up and blow up the one on the ground as well. If you aim for the one on the ground, for whatever reason, it does not always hit the one on the balcony. I think it does sometimes, but not always. It's kind of weird. But you want to blow up both barrels because you're also hitting a loose suit that's up there. Once you've taken those guys out with the barrels, there's another barrel over to your left that you're going to hit to take out another. It's either a loose suit or a fire guy. I don't actually remember which one. I think it's a fire guy, and you're going to take out that barrel to beat him. So you're going to blow up 3 barrels, the one on the balcony over here, and the one on the balcony over to the left of that one. Once that happens, you're going to get a wave of enemies of dual suits. Just whip out the paintball gun, take them out. And then from there, you're going to get 2 bald guy in Speedo, Mr. Spudo. Hug the barrels that are right in the middle of the arena by a bench. Hug them, wait for Mr. Spudo, both Mr. Spudos to come over to you, and then blow up the barrel, and you'll take them both out. If you don't get both of them with the barrel, you'll have to beat them the hard way, which is slow. And then from there, the rest of the arena is just cleanup. You got a fire guy over there you'll have to take out. You'll just have a few more enemies you have to beat. Just get rid of them as quickly as you can. So all said and done, you're going to want to start by beelining it over to that barrel. Just like that. Take out this one. And as soon as you take that guy out, that's when Mr. Spudo spawns in. And you can use either the drip cannon or the tailor-made here. It is personal preference. Once you got them both, open the door, come on through, and hit the elevator. And that is mission 9. Nice and easy. Now, mission 10 has got a fairly difficult skip. I'm going to show you a few different methods. I'll show you the one that I find to be the easiest first. There's other methods that are slower and I think more difficult, so I'm not going to bother showing you those because the old method is the one that I did at AGDQ, and that involves a very tight jump off of that helicopter right there, actually. Right there. That jump is difficult, and doing it the skip that way is actually slower. So I'm going to show you what I think is the easiest method. And then from there, I will show you everything going forward. Now, once you're here, you're going to jump at the very edge of this building. If you jump from here, you will not make it. You have to jump all the way at the edge. You're going to jump onto the awning right here, and then you're jumping right in between these 2 buildings. You are going to hold forward the entire time, for if you do not hold forward the entire time, you will death warp back up here. So, all said together, just like that, you'll land here. You notice how tight the space is on that to land here. Now, as soon as you land, you're going to turn immediately around, head back to through this opening. You're going to run along this wall here. You're going to curve slightly to get to here. Curve 90 to get to here. Slight turn, slight turn. And then you're going to go wide around this, because if you go tight, you're going to hit this. You're going to go wide here. Now, there is in New Game Plus, I don't know if this is a New Game Plus specific thing or if you can do this in any percent, but I've seen runners run up somehow jump onto some collision on this platform here and then jump over the door frame. I have not been able to successfully replicate that. For me, I just end up doing this the whole time. I don't know what they're doing to get over this. If you want to toy around with that and try to do it yourself, you can. It is technically faster by a couple seconds. Otherwise, you're going to come around this corner, come through here, jump over this tree, and then you're going to get here. Now, I've had bad luck doing this method over here. But what you can do is come over here and soak the wall in this spot and hold forward. Now, I have been falling through the floor every time I've tried to do this. Like that. So, I'm going to recommend against doing that. In the testing that I've done, I have found that the method I'm going to show you right now is exactly the same amount of time. That one is literally not faster than the other. And there is a consistency to the skip that I'm going to show you in just a second. By the way, you don't have to jump onto that building. You can jump straight from that corner to this corner. The timing is a little bit tight, but just give your jump button a nice big scroll, and you should be okay. And again, jump on the very edge of that platform, and that'll land you here. And I never really let go of drip cannon when I do that. I just keep holding onto it because it doesn't. There's no benefit in letting go. You can keep your speed. So go through these buildings, go wide around this corner. Tight turn here, slight turn here, jump over this. Now, the other one I'm going to show you is jank skip. If you are running on console, this is patched out. As far as I am aware, the developers did not intentionally patch this out, that it was a byproduct of them patching something else and they accidentally patched the skip. I don't know how that happened, but that's what happens. If you are running on console and you want to try doing the other method, you can take a look at one of the console runs. You can also watch Abby's run. She runs on controller, and I believe she does that skip, that version of this skip in her PB. What I find to be a little bit easier is I'm going to get over to this door. I'm going to aim right in the middle of this doorway, and I'm going to hold forward and left click to fire, and I'm going to hit the wall behind this door, just like that. It should be hitting this corner or right against this wall. Now, you can do this a couple ways. I find that turning around to face this way and then looking down makes this easier. I'm going to do a big fat scroll and tap left. Okay, that is not how this is supposed to go. Okay, I gotta redo this. So you may have to not hold left, but not tap it either. Something in between where it's like a nice thick press of the button to move far enough to the left. And this skip is called jank skip, by the way, because as you can see, as you will soon see, it is very janky, as demonstrated just now. And you'll get used to this pathway pretty quickly. It's a lot of straight lines and then just one big curve around that corner, and then another curve around all these other corners. So I'm gonna run up, start soaking the middle of this doorway, or just slightly to the left of center of this doorway to get to here. From here, scroll or press. You can do this with a space jump if you want, but I find scrolling to make this more consistent. And then press left, just like that. And you can. It looks like you can hold left a little bit. I do this totally out of muscle memory by this point, so you can hold left, and you'll hit an invisible wall right here, so you won't have to worry about like going too far. From here, you're going to do a crouch jump, and if you stay up here, then you know you did it correctly. You're going to uncrouch. Oh God, come on. There we go. You're going to uncrouch by scrolling the wheel. So you're going to do a crouch jump and then start scrolling the wheel again to uncrouch and jump to get up here. And then you're going to do another crouch jump to get to the next platform up, just like that. Now, once you are up, crouch, you're going to fire at the floor. And as soon as you fall through the floor, you're going to uncrouch, hold forward, and then jump. and jumping with spacebar is recommended as opposed to using the scroll wheel here. So, gonna hold fire, uncrouch, forward, space jump, and that'll land you up here. It doesn't always work. Sometimes you'll get stuck. Sometimes you'll land on the ceiling. Sometimes you'll miss this platform for whatever reason because you get stuck on some weird collision. But this is where you want to end up. And as soon as you've landed here, you are going to just follow this pathway. This light doesn't exist, by the way. You're going to jump over the planter there. Now, it is easy to hit the wrong spot here. So follow this pathway very carefully. You're going to jump onto this planter to the right of this tree, to the left of this light. Right here. So you're going to land like right about here. Follow the side of this building. Do not go too far to the right. There is a death plane here. You will warp to another spot over there. If that happens, you will either be soft locked, or technically you will have to do the sniper sequence because you won't be able to do the other method to get like the old version of the skip to get back over to the car. So just land here, and then this little piece of collision right here in the center of my crosshair. This is a light. This is a light post. You're going to be aiming to the left of that, and just follow that line. And that is the whole beginning of Mission 10. There is no skip for this. You're going to have to just do this fight and learn the patterns. You get a tight suit here. Hit that guy. And you'll learn this fight as you go. It's very easy to kind of forget how certain things in this fight work, but if you need health for whatever reason, shoot the mocktail truck and you will get health. So this phase starts with 2 tight suits. The second one is usually shows up by now. Oh, interesting. He's not there. But yeah, it's usually 2 tight suits and then 2 dull suits. I'm not sure where the other tight suit went. That was kind of weird. And then you got these 2. And to hit the drones, sometimes hitting the drones a little tough. So what you can do to hit the drones with the dull suits on them, you can actually hit the ground underneath them, and it will, if you're close enough to underneath them, it will actually hit their collision just like that. If it's too far away, it won't work, but if it's close enough, you'll hit them. But yeah, you can watch the world record. You can watch my run. You can watch a few runs. They're all about the same. This section isn't really much faster for anybody because it's a rail shooter. So it's just a painful part of the run you have to do, and it's tied to the end level trigger, so there is no skip for it. And if you end up being lucky enough to do this at a speedrun marathon, this is a great spot for donations. And once you see the sidewalk close in on you, that's how you know you are the end of the level is nigh. So once you get to here, if you didn't equip the swag team before, if you accidentally left License to Chill on, you can switch to swag team. Or if you like License to Chill, you can leave that on here if you want. There is no second dialogue prompt once you get over to Mission 11, so you don't have to worry about scrolling on that one. You can just immediately hit space and then open up this menu and roll out. Now, Mission 11 has what I would argue is the most difficult fight in the run, because you're supposed to have the wardrobe by the point that we are going to be getting into that fight, but we're skipping it because it's slow to do that. It's actually faster to skip getting the wardrobe and just do the last fight without it. So what I'm going to do is, you don't have the lights to do this the way we did in Mission 7, so you're going to have to just kind of time this out and count it. So what I typically do is, as soon as I hear the drip cannon fully charge, I count to 4 kind of slowly, and then once enough time has passed, I've counted to 4, I aim down, soak the floor, and do a big thick jump to get through there. If you don't get far enough, you're going to infinitely fall forever, because there's no death plane if you don't jump far enough. We're trying to jump far enough that we hit the death plane to warp back in bounds over there. So I'm going to aim right about here, right above the plant, at the side of this door frame, or this picture frame. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is what you're trying to do. Trying to death warp back in right here. From here, just aim down and start running through the golf course. And then I'll kind of explain things from here, or from there, once we're at the end of the golf course. And you can just run past all these guys. They won't bug you. Most of them won't even be able to follow you. And by the way, the scroll jumping here is usually much easier, because space jumping, for whatever reason, the game will drop your inputs very badly, because this game is made on Unity, which I have said many times is a wonderful engine with no flaws whatsoever. /S. All right. Now, from here, you're going to have a big fat fight on your hands. I like to start this fight by whipping out the 2-die-4 and going for the dull suits first, and then eyeballing the trench coat guys and seeing what they have. The trench coat guys are random here. Some trench coat guys are fixed in earlier levels. We skipped a bunch of them. These are the first ones you're going to have to actually fight. Aside from the one in Mission 9 that we blow up with the barrel, so like you'll have to actually fight these ones without a barrel, unless you kite them over to a barrel and get them that way. And there are a few barrels in this arena that you can use on some of the bigger enemies if you want to do that. What I do is I hit the dull suits first. I eyeball the trench coat guys to see how I'm going to beat them, and then I kind of deal with the other enemies afterward. The second phase is a bunch of neon bras. If one of the trench coat guys is a neon guy, soaking him up and soaking up the 3 neon bras will supercharge your 2-die-4, and you can use that supercharge for the dull phase, which spawns in a bunch of dull suits and a manager, and you can use the supercharge on the manager to take him out really quickly. If you get unlucky and you just get two dull trench coats, you're not 3 neon bras isn't enough to charge up the 2-die-4, and so you'll have to take out the manager the hard way. It's not a big deal. It takes a little bit longer. You'll lose a little bit of time, but you can still totally do the fight. It's just optimally you would get a neon guy, and I'm telling you this because you can use the drip cannon to beat the neon trench coat guys, but if you get a neon trench coat, you may want to use the 2-die-4 alt fire instead, just so you can supercharge the 2-die-4. Okay, so aside from that, all I can really do is just wish you luck, because this fight is kind of insane. Use the barrels on the big guys if you can. I find that using them on Mr. Sputo and some of the other bigger enemies is better than using them on the smaller enemies. So good luck. Ooh, I got 2. Nice. So fully charging the belt, by the way, will stun these guys. Okay. Now, I would use the barrels here on these guys, just to get them out of the way, because they can be really annoying, as you see. Alright, so we've got the dull phase here. Where's the manager? There he is. Okay, you're gonna get a fire guy here. You You take him out. Now, if you want to try and kite these guys over to this barrel, as you can see, it doesn't always work very well. Okay, this one is not technically required because he actually came from an earlier fight, but he's still gonna get annoyingly in the way, so get rid of him. You'll save yourself a lot of headache. And then this is the last one for this phase, and then you're gonna get a bunch of guys over here. Now they intended for you to use a rocket on this pile of enemies, but we don't have the rocket launchers, so okay, that guy warped. Oh, interesting. That guy glitched out. I've seen that glitch before, but that is a very rare glitch to occur. Just having that just soak these guys. Yeah, so if you get lucky, that the glitch on the one trench coat guy, I think it has to do with him zipping the way he did. His hurt box will actually be active. His hitbox for his charge point, his neon spot, will actually stay active permanently. So you can just keep using the alt fire on this. I've only seen that glitch like 2 or 3 times, so don't bank on that happening. But if that happens, then that'll technically be a time save for you. From here, you're going to belt swing off that, and jump into that pipe. If you miss the pipe, there's a backup, don't worry. But as soon as you get partway over that node, you're gonna get a dialogue prompt that's gonna pop up. So it's going to look like this. Just like that. Now, say you missed the pipe. Oh no, I didn't land in the pipe. No big deal. Jump back here, get into this corner, and you'll hit the end level trigger that way. And it is maybe 1 second of time loss. Not a big deal. Now, mission 12 is going to be very difficult for new runners. I'm going to warn you right now. So you're going to start out by skipping the dialogue, whipping out the drip cannon, and doing a drip clip right here. Swinging to get up here. Now, once you're in this corner, you're going to aim for the corner here. So this is the corner. It's a little hard to see on the video, I know, but you can see the floor, where the corner is in the floor. You're aiming for this wall of where the corners meet, but you're going to aim at the corner. So like just to the right of where the corner is. You're going to aim slightly down. You don't want to aim straight forward. You're going to aim slightly down. And as soon as you clip through, turn to the right very quickly. If you did it correctly, you will basically jump on some collision and get yourself out of the ship, and you'll do a death warp. If you didn't do it correctly, you'll most likely hit the lava, and you'll land back in here in this arena because there's a death plane that is tied to this arena. If you do it correctly, and you want to make sure you're firing the whole time, because you actually need the speed from the drip cannon in order, like on the collision that's out of bounds, in order to get enough speed to clear the death plane that would warp you back up in here. So all said and done, that's going to look like this. I'm actually going to aim slightly more down just in case. So once I'm through, I'm going to turn. Yep, and that's what happens if you can turn too early, so you don't want to turn right away, but you do want to turn fairly quickly, or you're going to still hit the death plane anyway. And that will death warp you to right here. Now, you are at the mercy of a couple choices. No matter what you do, you're going to need to run along here anyway and do this platforming. Now you see where that marker is right here, this objective marker. Make sure you land on this platform. If you skip this platform, you're going to miss an objective marker and you're going to be back there, which is bad. So land on this platform, whatever you do. If you get enough speed to jump onto that platform, let go of forward and land here. I am warning you. So you're going to get to here. Now, you can do ship skip. Ship skip is very difficult. I don't usually get it first try. If you do not get if you do not want to go for ship skip, just play everything inbounds like normal, and I will show you a way to get through the rest of the level. But if you want to go for ship skip, yes, I didn't hold forward enough. Ship skip involves getting enough speed. Yeah, see, I tried to get it on the second node, but it's usually tougher to get it on the second node. So what I'm going to do is to get up here. And you have to do a crouch jump to get up here. You cannot get enough speed without crouch jumping to clear this jump. But this is ship skip. From here, you can ride this line just with the drip cannon all the way to the end of the level. And then once you get to the end of the level, you'll know what the end of the level looks like once you've done this a few times. You just jump back inbounds and do the fight. You can just run along here and jump back inbounds. Ship skip is hard. Don't do it as a beginner. You will make your life miserable. Instead, I'm going to show you the old method that we did that is still perfectly viable and what I would recommend that you do if you are a newer runner that is just starting out. Because for a long time, we didn't even think that ship skip was RTA viable until we figured out the timing for swinging off the nose. So, just like that. So doing it the inbounds way is a little slower, but not by much. Now you would normally have to do an extra fight, but there is a small skip that you can do. Not a small skip; it's actually a pretty big skip because it skips the fight. But you can do a drip clip to get out of the fight, and I'll show you how to do that. So instead of doing ship skip here, you would just swing. Oh, good grief! And that's also why you want to land on that marker in case you missed the nodes here. You're gonna do this like normal. I haven't done this route since I ran 100%. This is unlocking memories for me. So you would just do all this inbounds. And it is, by the way, possible to clear the dinghies and land on the water, which you don't want to do. Now, the intended path forward is actually to take this vent. So you're going to jump on to all the furniture to get up here. Now, from here, whoops, when you enter the ski resort, you're going to get some dialogue popping up. You don't get the dialogue if you do ship skip. At least I don't believe you do. And you're just going to ride down the hill until you get to the drip clip spot. So one thing you're going to want to do is as soon as you get right here, wiggle your mouse. That throws off, that seems very small and innocuous, but that actually throws off the gimp that's behind you. It throws off his aim. If you don't wiggle the mouse, he will grab you every time because he tracks you. He actually tracks what direction you're going in, so wiggling the mouse throws his aim off. So that is a very tiny little thing you can do to speed things up. Now, there's a gate that's going to pop up right here. You're aiming for the corner, and you're going to just aim straight down and drip clip into the ground. It seems counterintuitive, but it's actually, you're going to just go through the wall instead. You're not actually going to clip through the floor, so don't worry about that. We're going to get right into this corner, crouch, and then just aim facing forward, and that will land you through the ground like that. And that will get you to here. Now, you do have the rocket launcher here because we obtained the rocket launcher last level. Even though we skipped it, we got it in this level because that's how the game works. That's how we got the drip cannon. That's how we got the gnome and all that. When you get to here, if you did ship skip, you're not going to have the gimps chasing you around, so you don't need to worry about them. If you did not do ship skip, if you did the method that I just did, where you did the drip clip to get in here, you're going to have some gimps on you. If that's the case, you're going to want to slap the belt first. That puts the gimps directly in front of you, and it makes them an easy target for the rocket. But you're going to want, you have 4 rockets, and you have 5 phases in this next fight. Which means you're going to get 1 rocket per phase, except for 1 phase that you're going to have to do the hard way. The fastest phase to do that is on the dull phase, which is phase 3 of 5. So You get to here, whip this out. Yeah, sometimes you won't hit all of them. Sometimes one will stay alive. I don't know where this tight suit came from. Okay, I don't know where this tight suit came from, but he is in my way, so I'm going to take him out. And of course, he decided to go out of bounds. From here, charging the... I need to get out of my face. Charging the belt fully will stun the managers. I recommend it because they also take more damage while they are stunned. Once you've taken out this whole phase, whoops. Aiming right in that spot will typically get everybody. Sometimes you'll miss the Gimp. There's other spots you can set up in other places in the arena to do that rocket. I think ACATers did it from up here. It's up to personal preference. I find getting in that corner and doing it from that side tends to be the most consistent for me. And then ACATers also does this last shot from a different spot. I'm going to do it from here because this is the way that I usually do it, because I can go into the elevator right away. But soon as this snowball rolls down, it's going to blow up and a bunch of enemies are going to come out. Do not hit these enemies immediately. You will soft lock the arena and you'll have to load checkpoint because the objective markers will not be up. They won't appear immediately. You have to wait till the little red diamonds appear above everybody's head. Then you can use a rocket. Don't do this too early or you will be sorry. Just like that. And once you're in the elevator, just skip the dialogue and you're done. And that takes us to Turncoat, the final boss fight. And I hope you have been enjoying this tutorial so far. All right, so to start out, hold forward in space, and you'll skip this cutscene. Now, you can damage Turncoat with gnomes, although it's slow to do that, so just use the drip cannon, because that makes the most sense. And one thing to note, while I'm doing this phase, as soon as you have the drip cannon fully charged, you're going to want to start using the alt fire on it, because you do more damage with the alt fire. Once you notice that the alt fire starts to slow down, because the more you use it, the more pressure you're going to release from the drip cannon, and then the shots are going to slow down. As soon as you hear it slowing down, go back to primary fire and charge it back up again. And you're just going to alternate between using alt fire and recharging it with the primary fire. But the alt fire does more damage. You just want to make sure that you're firing it at full power. And you'll know it's at full power because it'll be the green spot. It'll be the green thing right here. As soon as you reach yellow is when it starts to slow down for you. You are trying to take down the drone until he gets to here. Now, the game, we used all 4 rockets in that last fight, but the game gives you 2 rockets at the beginning of this level. For some reason, I'm not sure why, but they give you 2 rockets. We're going to use the rockets on both of his interstitial phases between the drones flying around. If you don't end up successfully timing this, and it is very easy to goof up the timing, I have done it, just go after them the normal way. Don't use your second rocket on him. Just beat him the normal way. For the first phase, he is imitating a flame guy, so you're just going to keep using the drip cannon and just keep doing it the same way that you have been doing it on the drone. The second phase is he puts on a very bright raincoat, and you're going to need to use the alt fire on the 2-4 to do that. If you end up missing that rocket as well. But the timing, as soon as you see him finish putting on his clothes, what I do is I jump, hold backward, and then fire, and then I right click to spread the rockets to make sure I hit him. He will go down just to a single rocket without the spread, but you run the risk of missing him pretty easily. So the timing for that is going to look something like this. Oh, no, I goofed it up. I got antsy. I made the mistake that I told you not to make. So I'm gonna do this again, just for redemption purposes, so I can show you what it looks like. Unpausing threw me off a little bit, I will admit. As you'll notice how once the pressure leaves a recharge, you can also see the pressure gauge where it will start slowing down a little bit. So I just fire to recharge it. Just like that. That is how you're supposed to do that if you don't screw it up the way I did. All right, so you're gonna do the same thing again. And you can avoid his attacks or not. Sometimes it's worth avoiding them just so you don't get knocked around, because some of his attacks do damage boosting. I'm gonna just keep firing slowly to make sure I do that. Just like that. All right, from here, there's a cutscene that plays. You can scroll to skip the dialogue and then smack him as soon as you get out of this animation. More dialogue, scroll the wheel to skip the dialogue, scroll the wheel to skip the dialogue, scroll the wheel to skip the dialogue. And then as soon as you scroll the wheel to skip the dialogue here, you're gonna scroll to charge up your stamina. And you have to take out the deses here. This phase is extremely straightforward. And if you have space bound to scroll down, that's when, like in your mouse software, that's when you can scroll the wheel to very easily, instead of having to like mash space to build up your stamina. Little time save there. This is exactly the same. You're just taking out the drone one more time. Absolutely nothing different about this phase. Just trying to take out that last little bit of it. So scroll the wheel to skip the dialogue there. You're gonna scroll the wheel, skip the dialogue there, and then scroll down to skewer that. So to skip that little tutorial pop-up. Now from here, you have to take out all 4 deses and gain 10,000 points. So optimally, what you do is you jump over here to the right, you take out that first des, you're gonna jump across this gap to take out the second one, land first, then jump over the side. That will get your fab level to stay. If you don't do that, you won't keep your fab level. Now, fastest way to do this, I'll show you, is actually not to take the ramp at all. It's to jump onto here, and then jump onto the railing here, and then jump up here. If you want to do it the safer way, I guess, you can take the ramp, jump across, jump onto that railing, and then take that railing to get up here. Whichever way you do it, you get up here, you're going to take out this des, take out this des, and that will be the end of that. One more time, we're taking them out here. And that is the end of the drip cannon for the rest of the run. So there's a lot of dialogue to skip here, so if you have a free scroll wheel, this is the time to use it. Now this last phase of this fight is 100% RNG, so good luck. But I'll explain the mechanics of how this part of the fight works. Turncoat's gonna do 3 attacks, and you can only defeat him with the rocket launcher at this point. You cannot beat him with any other weapon. So he's gonna do 3 attacks, and then Haley is going to bring in ammo for you. She will not bring in ammo until he's done 3 attacks. He's now done 3 attacks, so she is going to bring in ammo. And you're going to need to use these pin cushions in order to jump up here. Now, you're going to want to drop 2 of these rockets as quickly as you can. If you don't get rid of your rockets quickly enough, you may not get the next set of rockets from Haley. It may take an extra cycle, like an extra attack. So you want to get rid of 2 of your rockets as quickly as you can, because she will not bring you ammo until you only have 1 or 0 rockets. And then once he is phase changed, you'll know he's phase changed because he'll do this weird little growl thing. Like bad yodeling. And that's how you know that he's phase changed. From there, it will take 1 extra attack before Haley will bring in ammo. And she will, by the way, not bring in ammo while Turncoat is releasing the pin cushions. She will not bring in the ammo until he has released his last pin cushion. And unfortunately, the timing of that means that sometimes you will not get a pin cushion and you'll have to wait for the next round of them. And then sometimes you'll get this where she will happen to bring you another set of ammo right away, which is nice. If she does that only once, ideally she will do that. Dude, open the thing. Ideally, she will do that in the later phases as opposed to the earlier phases, because that means you don't have to wait for nearly as many attacks to cycle through. And spreading the rockets, by the way, does a lot more damage. So be sure to spread those rockets out and be sure to not shoot at the wall too much. And I'll show you something you can do in New Game Plus, and something you actually can do here as well if you really want to, although it's not really a time save in most cases. So we're now at this point, I think, waiting for 6 attacks to cycle before Haley will bring in ammo for us. Whoop. So one thing you can do, specifically in New Game Plus, is land on the shield. And you have to do some pretty difficult finagling of where you're standing and moving around in order to make sure you stay on it. But once you have fed him enough damage, spin the wheel to skip the dialogue, and that is time. And that is how to speedrun Fashion Police Squad any %. There's a few different methods of ranging difficulties in each level, or in most levels. My strong recommendation, if you are brand new to this run and you are just starting out, and you are most likely in that camp if you are watching this tutorial, start out with the easy methods. Do those first, learn those, get good at those, and then once you get a pretty decent time, move on to the harder skips, because the harder skips are absolutely going to reset your run once you get a fairly competitive time. And it would be very, very sad if you started learning the really tough stuff and were resetting before you've even broken, like, say, the 1 hour mark. Because your early runs are going to be well over an hour. That's totally fine. No one's expecting you to get a 40-minute time on your first go. That would be a little outrageous. But as you get better and better and better, once you start hitting like the sub 40s, that's when you can start going for things like the harder skip in Mission 9, and the harder version of the skip in Mission 7 and stuff like that, because those are going to start saving actual time that you would not save otherwise without them. But I recommend you start with the easy versions of each skip first, and then work your way up to the difficult versions. But yeah, that is the full any % tutorial on how to speedrun Fashion Police Squad. Remember, if you want to submit to the leaderboard, we do require in-game audio at all times. You do not have to have the music on, although why you would ever turn the music off of this game, I have no idea, because the soundtrack is awesome. But make sure that you have in-game audio present at all times. That is required for verification, and make sure that you have no unbroken audio or unbroken video, that it is one continuous video, because if your audio or video cut out during the run, that will most likely get your run rejected. Otherwise, good luck and kick butt.